Alrighty guys, today I'm going to teach you a few new words you can use in Spanish to make you sound a lot more natural in your speech, and those are called demonstrative adjectives. It's the title of the video. Now this sentence here is a pretty typical sentence for what we've been doing lately in class. It says, the camiseta t-shirt is more expensive than los zapatos, the shoes. Alright? Now that's a fine sentence and it's correct, but it really doesn't sound very natural. Like, can you see yourself being in a store and actually saying that sentence? The t-shirt is more expensive than the shoes. Not really, especially if you were looking at a display in the store. Much more comfortable sounding perhaps would be, if you were making that statement, you were comparing the cost of the things, maybe saying this t-shirt instead of the t-shirt. And maybe instead of the shoes, saying these shoes. This t-shirt is more expensive than these shoes. Or maybe those shoes. This t-shirt is more expensive than those shoes. See, doesn't that just sound a little bit more natural when you say that? Now, in English, we have those words this and those. And notice you can't interchange them. This t-shirt, but I can't say this shoes. And I can't say these t-shirt, and I can't say this shoes. It just sounds wrong. Can you tell why? It's because in English, sorry the camera's so jumpy, in English we make a distinction between whether we're talking about one thing or more than one thing. So if I'm ever talking about one thing like t-shirt, I'm going to say this t-shirt. But once I'm talking about something plural like shoes, I would say these shoes. See, now for some reason I was just talking about one shoe, which would be completely bizarre. I could say this t-shirt's more expensive than this shoe. But you see, so in English, if we make a distinction between if something's singular or plural, do you think Spanish is going to make that same distinction? Absolutely. So in Spanish, we have a way to say this, and we have a way to say these as well. But if you think about it, we don't just divide things in Spanish between whether they're singular or plural. Can you guess? Oh yes. There is a word for this if you're using it with a masculine noun, and there is a separate word for this if you're using it with a feminine noun. Aren't you lucky? So let's jot them down. I bet you could, let's see, I bet you could build them if I gave you one of them. Here. What if I told you this was the word for this if the noun were feminine? Now if that's the word for this, if you're using a feminine noun, do you think you could guess what the word would be for these? I bet you're guessing correctly. The word for these is estas. Now, if you can guess that, do you think you could guess what the word would be for these if I was using a masculine noun? For example, zapatos, which is shoes. I bet you could guess. Masculine and plural. Estos. Now the only kind of weird one, you really, really want this guy to be esto, but it's going to be este. So if a noun is masculine, you're going to say este or estos to say this or these. And if the noun is feminine, you're going to say esta or estas in front of the noun. Okay? Now, in addition to saying this or these, you could also say that or those. Instead of this t-shirt, I could say that t-shirt. Instead of these shoes, I could say those shoes. Well, you're in luck. Very, very, very similar. Check it out. If you want to say those, or excuse me, if you want to say that, instead of este, ese. Instead of esta, esa. Can you guess? You want to say those? Esos. Don't you love my camera work? I need an iPad stand. They make stands for these things. I should get one. Feminine. Yikes. Great handwriting. Yeah, iPad stand. It's on my shopping list now. Okay? Those are our words. En español, of course I didn't label these as masculine or feminine. Maybe it's best that I didn't, so that the camera didn't go completely out of control. But click to the right. I'm going to have a slideshow up of practices. I want you to practice saying things like this t-shirt or that t-shirt, these shoes or those shoes. And you always have to remember, since it's wonderful Spanish, whether you're using it with a noun that is singular or plural, or whether you're using the adjective with a noun that is masculine or feminine. But those are our words for this, these, that, and those. We're going to start working with them in class tomorrow. I can't wait. And I hope you guys go through those practices to the right. All right, see you tomorrow.